Ay, yeah, una malini. El morumba, y que la anima se le hizo combinante un melel. El que la anima se le hizo combinante un melel. Ay, yeah, una malini. Ay, bueno, que la gaya. Este pionto. Yo, don't baila. Yeah, don't baila.
It is Murder coming through, and of course featuring Oscar Mbor with this one and Marumba. A beautiful song, Mohegan Sun. That is how we start off the show. It is December after all, and we thought, why not open up with the South African Music Awards nominee, taken from the album Asante, which honors his baby with wife and musical collaborator DJ Izinhle. That is Murder, coming through, featuring Oscar Mbo and, of course, Marumba on this particular one. It is December. It is the first of the month, a pinch and a punch for you if you believe in all of that. And, you know, I heard somebody say this morning, one of my fellow broadcasting queens, Lerato Mbele, was saying that what a focus queen is this December, because she absolutely understands the assignment, arriving on a fabulous summer Friday afternoon to grace us with 31 days of incredible summer. And I'm sure we can't wait. I am so positive that wherever you are right now, you absolutely cannot wait for the long days of relaxation that lay ahead, the endless sunsets that can be enjoyed while sipping on a beautiful cold beverage, enjoying the company of friends and family, and just, you know, mellowing away, just watching the days morph from one to another, without a care in the world. Oh, December, you beaut, how we have waited for you. But also, December is one of those months that, as much as my guest is going, are we already on holiday mode? December is also those months, as much as it signals the beginning of forever summer, forever holiday for all of us. It's also a very serious month, especially the 1st of December, because that is when we commemorate World AIDS Day. And of course, World AIDS Day, we use this day just to reflect back on our journey, on our challenges, and of course on our victories in as far as our journey with HIV and AIDS. It's a day that we encourage people to go out and test, know your status. It is a day that we encourage dialogue around HIV and AIDS, and we catch up with all the respective stakeholders, those who fight a gallant fight on the front lines, as well as those who are living with HIV and AIDS, and just tap in to a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of resource. And it's no different on this particular show. In fact, our first guest, we're going to be focusing on exactly that conversation. But also coming up today, we're going to catch up with one of my favorite people, Umbuso Khoza, who needs no introduction as a multi-talented, award-winning musician, as well as a scholar of music, is going to be joining us. Nomsa Mazwai is also coming through. Hashtag Funk It, I'm Walking. She's always up to something, and she's going to let us know what is on the agenda for summer 2023. And then on the other side of this, we wrap things up by catching up with the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, and we'll just touch base with them as well. It's been 10 years since the passing of the late statesman. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then we come back and we introduce you to two brothers that are advancing the conversation around HIV and AIDS awareness, and bringing out the positive side of sometimes these very, really just heart-wrenching stories. But there's always a positive if you look closely enough.
Ford is turning 100, and there's never been a better time to buy a brand new Ford. We're giving away 100 vouchers worth an amazing 50,000 Rand each, and the sensational grand prize of us paying for one lucky winner's Ford. It's the celebration of the century. Visit a Ford dealer, buy a new Ford, and win. T&Cs apply.
SV Darmstadt and FC Köln are both faced with the same dilemma. They are navigating a path to relocate from the uncomfortable zone. The Lilies want to impress home fans, but the Billygoats believe they can shine away from home. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch the glittering clash between SV Darmstadt and FC Köln this Friday, 1 December at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
World AIDS Day. We are all reminded in commemoration of this day to continue the fight against stigma and discrimination. HIV and AIDS are chronic diseases. People living with these diseases can have a happy and full life. We each have a responsibility to treat this disease with compassion.
SAFM, leading the conversation.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, and we have in studio Ntokozo Mkhize, who is joining me as one of the co-founders of Good Stories. And on the line, his twin brother, Thula Mkhize, also joins me. Let me start with you, Ntokozo. How are you doing?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Can't complain.
All right.
You in good spirits?
I am.
I love it.
I'm. How are you? How are you?
Always in good spirits. And
nice,
yet December is upon us.
Are you aware that we're not in summer yet?
No, guys, we're in summer. It's December.
Summer
Stop
starts
that.
on the 23rd of December.
Can you all stop with this tomfoolery? Thula, let's talk to a sensible person. How are you doing, Thula? I'm fine, thank you, Njani. No, that's...
Did you notice how I didn't call you Bridget? I called you Bridget because in Zulu we don't have any R.
I did, indeed, I did. And you know what? I'm going to let you get on with it. It's perfectly fine. Let's get on with the business of the day. Clearly, you can tell we are about to have a very serious conversation, but these brothers are in good spirits and light-hearted individuals, which is why I guess they founded Good Stories. It is World AIDS Day today, December 1st, and every single year since 1988, this international day has been dedicated really to raising awareness of the HIV and AIDS pandemic. And the brothers are frontline activists in as far as this is concerned. And I guess before we get to the personal story of yourself, Thula, let me get an understanding from Ntokozo. Good Stories. Tell me, what is Good Stories all about?
So it's all in the name. So we collect and tell HIV good stories. Now, what's a good story? A good story is someone who's ideally who's survived and lives a good life with HIV. What Thula a couple of years ago realized was there was not enough of these positive stories that were out there. So, for instance, if you found out that if you test HIV positive today, generally what you saw was there's a guy who comes out and says, I'm living with HIV, and maybe a year later he's gone, right? But you don't know that this guy has lived 5, 10, 15 years before he told you guys. So what you saw is he told us last year, he died the year after. So what do you start thinking? You start thinking this thing will kill you in 1 year. All right. So what we're trying to do is tell stories of people that have survived and lived long lives. So I mean, there's a guy we know who was born with HIV who's 38, right? Or he's older. Thula will probably correct me. But that means if I tested HIV positive today, my benchmark is now 38 years, right? So this means I can still chase my dreams. I can still have a normal life. I mean, Thula is married with children, so I can still get married if I want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's a thing. If you're into that kind of thing of marriage and stuff, you know, you can do that. That's like your thing.
It's going to be interesting trying to keep a straight face in this conversation. But I think, Thula, you know, what Ntokozo speaks about here is really a very important thing, right? It's the perception that we have around HIV and AIDS. This morning I actually said to my producers, I was like, oh my goodness, what are we doing for World AIDS Day? And I said to them, I hope we're telling a positive feel-good story, because we've labored on that doom narrative for so long that we forget that people, as you said, Ntokozo, people are out there living their lives, and they've done the best with the worst diagnosis and come out on the other side all the better, all the more wholesome for it, all the richer for it.
Exactly. I think Thula has said something. He said HIV was the best thing that ever happened to him. I mean, which is weird that he says it. But I mean, if you listen to it, you think, why would someone say that? But when you sort of follow someone's life, you start to think maybe that's the wake-up call they needed. Maybe, you know, it's yeah.
Yeah. Thula, for you, give me some context, and then we'll double back to why you said it was the best thing that ever happened to you. Give us some context about, you know, when you first got your diagnosis, if you don't mind us asking.
Please. So it was 2009. So I think the most beautiful thing is that in Jan, it's going to be 14 years of me knowingly living with HIV. So it's been an amazing journey. So in the early stages when I found out, like I think the first thing, like everyone else, you think you're going to die. But I think I've always believed I've been a very positive person. And I was like, there has to be another side to this. And I think after doing research and empowering myself, and I think that's one of the things that maybe a lot of us don't actually do enough of, is empower ourselves with information so that we make informed decisions about living with HIV. So I think after I had empowered myself and I was in a place where I understood how to control this thing rather than it controlling me, I then took everything that I had learned and we now crafted it and we're sharing it with the world. That's essentially what Good Stories is.
For you, when your brother says that, you've articulated that it was the best thing that could have happened to you, what made it so? What would you base that on?
I think, in life, you sort of need something that is probably going to humble you and put you in a place where you sort of reevaluate your life. And maybe find your life's purpose and meaning. And for me, this is, at the early stages of my life, was one of the things that really gave me purpose and meaning and directed my life. And I don't think I would be the person that I am today and the human being that I am today had I not walked down the bridge that I walked on. So I think it was just, it had to happen. So I've accepted it, and years later, we're changing people's lives.
Yeah. I think for me still, one of the things that I think injure the conversation around HIV and AIDS or any kind of infectious STI really is this notion of that people who get infected will ultimately being reckless, like you got what you deserved because you were running around. And I find the more I speak to more activists, more people living with HIV and AIDS, the vast majority, that is the furthest thing from the truth. It's almost as though people were living their lives and HIV found them somewhere along the journey because of someone else's mistake or someone else's choices. But that, for me, I don't know for you guys, when you'll engage in the work, that always seems to me like the perspective that creates that stigma and that block is people go, you were reckless with your life.
I think probably it's because when we're getting information about HIV back in the day, it was flagged as an infection that ladies of the night would get. So I think when it started, and I think what becomes important, we're actually having a conversation about your first encounter with anything will pretty much craft how you view that thing for the rest of your life. So if your first encounter with HIV is, it's for the ladies of the night and whatever it is, then we start creating the stigma on it to say, if you then get it, you're possibly doing the same thing that they were doing. For instance, Utula, when he got infected, I think he had slept with just 2 women without a condom. So between those 2 women, he got infected. So it's not like he was reckless. I know someone who's never used a condom their whole life, and they'll tell you, I've never used it. I party in Santin, pick up a girl, take her home. I've never been infected, and I've never used a condom. And you're like, how? Right? But that's just their portion. And I guess Amadlo's Agubo or whatever it is on their side. And then our Sekaya turned their back on Tula. I mean, look at him now. I mean, he's...
I don't know, Tula. As your brother tells your story for you, what is your perspective?
So I think, you talk about stigma, and I think a lot of the things that perpetuate stigma and a lot of the negativity is what we actually say around the fact that we make statements like people who are most likely to get HIV are people who have multiple partners and all of these things. What then happens is someone who makes a mistake once, we then automatically put them in a box that they don't belong in, right? And I think those are the kind of things we need to change. Because like Ntokozo said, for me, I literally can trace it back to possibly 2 women, right? I was responsible all my life, and I made a mistake twice of not protecting myself, and I find myself living with HIV. Now, can I now be boxed in a box that I don't belong in? I don't think I should. And those are the kind of things that we really need to change, because anyone could make a mistake in just one night and then contract the virus. And when they now need help from their communities then says, you've been promiscuous, you've been a sex worker, or you've had multiple partners, when it was just a mistake in one night. I really think we need to change the language and how we talk about HIV as a community. Then we'll be in a better place.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick break here. Madupi Makhalemele is standing by with the headline news, and then we'll come back on the other side of this and continue our conversation with the brothers. We've got the Mkhize brothers joining us. They are HIV and AIDS activists, and we are in full conversation. 061-410-4107. That is our WhatsApp line.
Thank you very much, Sister Bridget. With your headlines this hour, good afternoon. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has extended exemption permits for approximately 55,000 Lesotho nationals for a period of 2 years. The Kimberley Magistrates Court has turned down the bail application of a man accused of human trafficking, rape and assault, and Israeli warplanes have pounded Gaza, with authorities in the Strip saying that scores of people have been wounded or killed. And those are your headlines. A full news update, 2 o'clock.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
It is the full circle on SAFM, 061-410-4107. Alternatively, you can give us a call on 086-000-2032. It is the 1st of December, World AIDS Day today. And of course, we are in conversation with the co-founders of Good Stories, twin brothers, Ntokozo Mkhize and Utula Mkhize. Tula living with HIV and AIDS, and the two brothers doing phenomenal work by highlighting and promoting the positive stories that come out from those who have been HIV diagnosed. And we've got Tula on the line. I want to ask Tula from you, when one first finds out, I think a lot of people probably, even till today, I think people are scared when they go get, blood tests for whatever reason. There's a fear, there's an anxiety when you're just sitting there in that laboratory getting pricked and waiting for that result. For you, when you went in for your tests, and when you first were told your results, your diagnosis, what immediately went through your mind at that time? And I ask this because, and I love that gentlemen are talking this year, right? Gentlemen are sharing their stories. I came across a gentleman on the news this morning, and he was saying the first thoughts that he had to grapple with for the first couple of months after his diagnosis was his own discrimination. He self-ostracized himself before anyone else could, and he spent many months beating himself up before anyone else could ever sort of levy a negative thought on him. So I wonder for you, Tula, that journey, when one gets those results, what goes through your mind that first couple of weeks as you're grappling with what you've just been told?
Well, look, the first thing is that I'm going to die. So Ntokozo in studio there, who's speaking with you, will tell you he didn't cry. But
don't tell lies about me. Don't do this. It's been a very long time. We've had this conversation. I don't cry. It's dry here. Kalahari, bro.
Yeah, it's physically impossible for him to cry. But we spent weeks just crying because I thought I was going to die, you know. But it's so amazing when you empower yourself and really understand what this thing is, because within 6 months of me finding out that I'm living with HIV, I was so positive that, like, a year later, after finding out that I'm living with HIV, we started Good Stories, because I literally empowered myself, and I read so much, and I found people that had successfully lived with HIV for a long time. I would reach out to them, and I would ride off of their energy, and I think when you then find people who have done something that is a fear to you now, you then think, actually, if they've done it, they're not special. I can also do it, you know? And I think the crux of what we then do as Good Stories is that we are not saying that your story, as someone who's listening at home, is that your story will be like mine or anybody else for that matter. But we are saying is it's possible for you to live a good, successful life with HIV and not allow it to limit your dreams. Like now, I'm married, I've got kids. I'm actually standing outside a swimming school, and my kids are having swimming lessons, which is something when I found out in 2009, I never thought I could have a family and kids. 14 years later, here I am. And it's because I was just like, I need to empower myself. So empowerment eliminates the fear.
Absolutely. As we wrap it up, Ntokozo, how important is it you two have each other? You know, you've had each other from the womb to the tomb. And it's important to have these relationships where you can be real and honest with your emotions.
Yes. So first thing, Tula, how does it feel being outside when your kids are swimming and you know you can't swim? It's horrible.
Wow.
Man. It's horrible.
You took it there.
I think what happens is, back to the gent who for a long time was just beating himself up, right? Most people will go through that, and you don't know who to trust. You don't know who you can go to have the conversation so that you potentially could be safe, right? So you end up in that space where you're in your head the whole time. What we always say is, there's always someone that loves you and cares about you in your life. Tell them. You'll be surprised. Most people will go, how do I tell my mom? We don't know. It's your relationship with your mother. You know how to best approach it. You know, maybe take it slow, drop little hints here and there and hear what their mindset is around HIV. And if you can tell that this is not the type of person I want to speak to now, it becomes a teaching moment, because sometimes you might not have the support structure you need, but you can build it. So you can build people around you who you can empower with information. And at some point, by the time you come out, they're just like, oh, wow, now
it's
the
not
space
a big
is
deal.
Comfortable. And when people can see that you're okay, they mirror your energy. If you were running the show when you were unsure and would hear it on radio, would pick it up, your team can pick it up. Bridget doesn't know what she's doing. And they might mirror that fear, and then the whole show just collapses. So what Tula did when he empowered himself, he literally created a support structure. Because even when he told the family, everyone was like, oh, he's okay, then why are we stressing?
I love that.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for affording me the time this afternoon. Tula, let's let you get back to swim class. Very important date that you have there with your little ones. And we appreciate you sharing the story with our listeners this afternoon. That was the Mkhize brothers, Ntokozo and Tula Mkhize, co-founders of Good Stories. Let's take a quick break here, and then we come back on the other side of this and quickly touch base with Mbuso Khoza.
It's the celebration of the century, and you're invited. We've already given away almost 3 million rand with 56 daily vouchers won. Buy a new Ford before 31 December and you could win a 50,000 rand voucher or the grand prize of us paying for your new Ford. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&Cs apply.
Richards Bay FC and Stellenbosch FC can already smell the final of the Carlin Knockout Cup. However, only one team will progress. The Natal Rich Boys are confident they will keep their fans delighted, but Stellies believe they have a master plan to grab the graduation certificate to the final. Catch the Golden Knockout Cup semi-final clash, Richards Bay FC versus Stellenbosch FC, on Saturday 2 December at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Living your best life on the Full Circle.
Time goes by so quickly on this little show of ours. Time to catch up with the multi-talented, award-winning musician, actor, and of course cultural ambassador, one of the fave humans, Mbuso Khoza, touching base quick to find out about the Mbuso Khoza experience, which is going to be happening at the Lyric Theatre this evening. Sawubona, Mbuso, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay, and you?
I'm fantastic. I am fantastic. I cannot believe it is that time of the year, the Mbuso Khoza experience. Anytime you come to Joburg to present a musical offering, the energy is palpable. What's to be expected from 2023's experience?
It's going to be beautiful because tonight I'll be presenting the Mbuso Khoza experience. But it's not just going to be, a song and that's it and the next song. It's going to be a musical first. When I say musical, a theater piece called Abenguni at the opening. And then I come in and I perform the music from the new album, Falon Corner and other, my influences. I want to born out some skater. And I'm coming with each other in Africa as a group that will be performing an indigenous music called Mahu.
In fact, I think, Mbuso, that's what people enjoy the most, Guti. Anytime you come, especially when you come up to Joburg, it's the presentation of Amahubo that fans love the most from you.
Yes, because I think it's a music that has been really outmoded for a very long time. Now it's like it's a new thing, only to find that it's things that have been really relinquished to other cultures. You remember our grandmothers used to play like Yeah. So I'll be playing this instrument tonight.
We are looking forward to it. Listen, the line is letting us down because I know you're probably at the theatre, and I know that the theatre has some really bad reception. But, okay, so tonight we are on at the Lyric. Is it a one-night only thing?
Yes, it's because you just need to say once for your team. Yeah, something they've never.
Oh man, the line is literally letting us down so badly. But we will, if you can still hear me, we will catch up with you at your next visit to Johannesburg. That is tonight, the Lyric Theatre at 7 p.m. Don't say I didn't warn you that the tickets for the Mbuso Khoza experience always sell out. In fact, people get so excited when he comes through to perform Amahubo because he really is a cultural ambassador. He's one of those artists that people turn to when they want to learn more about indigenous, specifically Zulu indigenous music. And he presents it in such an incredible way, oftentimes laced with history, with heritage, with a lot of research that goes into it, tracing back the instruments, the use of instruments, tracing back the legacy of the Zulu people, tracing the roots of Africans on this continent, and just weaving the many stories that tie all of us together. And as you heard, well, I don't know if you heard because the line was really letting us down, but he often is joined by Ijadu Le Africa. So no doubt today, as he said, he will be joined by Ijadu Le Africa, Begezela and Nonka, all coming through. And I think he might even do some stuff because he's been working on Ukoka, right? So I think he might even do some stuff that scored that particular series. He also, by the way, Umbuso was also involved in the musical scoring of Shaka Ilembe. And I remember being in Durban last year, and the executive producers of Shaka Ilembe were looking for him high and low. Because if there was somebody who would be able to bring the musical element to it, it would be none other than Umbuso Khoza. So if you haven't gotten your tickets as yet, they are 300 Rand from Web Tickets. That's where you can get them. This show sells out. It absolutely sells out all the time. And oftentimes he's had to put in 2-3 other dates and stay in the city a little bit longer than he anticipated because the demand for it is always so intense. So if you want to immerse yourself in indigenous music, immerse yourself in the culture of African people of this country of ours, and particularly in Zulu culture, and understand some of the history and the heritage of Amahubo, definitely go and see this show. You'll absolutely enjoy it. You'll come back and you'll tell us how much you enjoyed it. It is The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM. I just wanted to grab this. Our WhatsApp is open, by the way. If you want to share your stories on 061-410-4107, that is our WhatsApp line. Feel free to do so. We had a message here that says, I was diagnosed in 1995 when HIV was still a death sentence. I've never been hospitalized. I started treatment in 2015. I have 3 kids with my husband. We are okay. Let us take care, but not panic. Absolutely love that. Highlighting the good stories. If you were diagnosed with HIV and AIDS and you do feel comfortable in sharing with us during the course of the show, please do feel free to do so. You can send us a voice note. You can drop us a message. You can do so anonymously as well. We absolutely respect your privacy. But if you want to highlight just the positive side of your journey, if you want to highlight the good things that have come out since your diagnosis, absolutely feel free to do so. I think that is an essential part of this conversation to show that there is life, in fact, while living with HIV, and a good, rich, wholesome life at that. It doesn't have to be a death sentence at all.
This festive season, Dis-Chem's Pick and Mix is back with their 2+1 cheapest free. Look for the special sticker on irresistible fragrance gift sets, pampering bath sets, and delicious boxed chocolates, biscuits, sweets, and treats. Take 3, get the cheapest free. Dis-Chem's got the perfect gifts for the whole family this festive season. Shop online and in store. Wishing you joy, peace, love, and health. Dis-Chem Pharmacies. Better health starts here.
Hello, Michelise. Hope you're well. Listen, I went to this car heaven place We Buy Cars with Henriette to sell the caravans and the jet skis she must now got from the divorce because she's never going onto the Vaal River again, she says. So We Buy Cars bought it from her for a great price. Now, you should tell your husband to sell all of those project cars and take you to the Maldives. Or just give them a call because they come to your house and then they buy your car somewhere so on the spot where they are so gerieflik.
We Buy Cars, the best place to sell your car by far.
Amazulu FC and TS Galaxy FC both believe they will make it to the final of the Carling Knockout Cup. However, only the great outfit on the day will celebrate the final whistle. KwaZulu-Natal versus Mpumalanga. Osoftu battles it out with the Rockets. Catch the Carling Knockout Cup semi-final contest between Amazulu FC and TS Galaxy FC this Sunday, 3 December at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
The Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies invites interested individuals and stakeholders to submit written comments on the SABC bill. The bill seeks to repeal the Broadcasting Act of 1999, to regulate the continued existence of the SABC, to provide for its governance, to amend the ICASA Act of 2000 and the Electronic Communications Act of 2005. For more information, you can contact the Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies by emailing sabcbill@parliament.gov.za, and you can direct your emails to Haraje Sali. The closing date for written submissions is Friday, the 15th of December at 4:30 p.m.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.2 FM in Tohoyandou.
Hi, I'm Lesedi Mokgwatle. This is Radio Workshop. Today, I'd like to get straight into the story. It's that good. So I'm not walking you through. I'm leaving you right here at the door in Lagos, Nigeria, with Love is a Conversation by 26-year-old writer and producer Mo Isu.
It's Sunday, the 3rd of September. It's 11:46 a.m. I am about to leave my house now and go have my interview with my dad, which is a conversation I think I've been prepping for quite a bit now.
You probably can't hear it in my voice, but I was super nervous about this chat with my dad. My dad is the typical sort of old school Nigerian dad. He's stoic, doesn't show a lot of emotion, not always the biggest talker. He cares a lot and I love him deeply, but I always get tense when I need to talk to him about something important. We've been planning this conversation for a few weeks.
We originally made plans to talk at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., but the rain held me back and I've sent him a text.
Good morning.
I said, Daddy, good morning. I hope you're doing well today.
I told him I would be on my way soon. His response was classic, matter of fact.
My dad replied and said, okay. That's the letter O and the letter K and a full stop. Fun.
Yeah, fun. If I ever had to describe my experience as an adult, it would be this: waiting for my next anxiety attack. A lot of mornings I wake up in a panic. I feel heaviness in my chest and a distinct sense that I'm running out of time. On a good day, that feeling doesn't hold me down. I can still get out of bed and sweep through the routines of my morning life. Brush my teeth, shower, have breakfast. Then I try to get some work done, because if I don't, the anxiety starts to creep in. On bad days, dreadful days, the anxiety is crippling. The days when I wake up smack dab in the middle of a panic attack. The days when I can't get past the bleeding sounds of Lagos, the grinding of generators and the incessant cries of the nearby church. But louder than all of this is the noise from within, the rapid beating of my own heart, and the feeling of impending doom. So I just lie there on my bed and hope the feeling will pass, that somehow I will outrun my anxiety. Waking up today, the conversation with my dad in mind, I am lucky the anxiety stays at bay. My parents live about 15 minutes away. I have to take an Uber to get there. I live in a part of Lagos called Yaba. I only moved out last year. I was 25 at the time. I share a 2-bedroom apartment with a friend. It's small, quaint. We've got one couch in our sitting room and that's it. I've just switched careers. I used to work in tech, but now I am trying this thing where I freelance as an audio producer, making audio stories and documentaries like this one.
It's that black gate on the left. Alright, thank you. Have a nice day.
Since moving out, I have tried to visit my parents as often as I can. Usually, we have a meal together, we pray together, watch TV together. but this visit is different.
Hello friends and welcome to Nali Bali. Did you have a good day today? Always remember to end your day on a positive note, no matter what happened earlier today. Maybe if you listen to today's story, your day would be happier. Today's story is called Aunt Dora's Room, written by Kat Ellis. But before we listen to today's story, let's all get up and dance. Lizzie thought that their house looked weird. All the other houses on the street were made of brick and were painted different colors. This house was made of wood and wasn't painted and looked dark and grey. While all the other houses on the street were only 1 story high, this house was thin and tall. It looked as if it could be 4 stories tall. The tall, thin house also looked as if it was gently swaying in the wind, but there was no wind. But the strangest thing that Lizzie noticed was that, while it was a sunny day, the house was in a shadow. How could that be? There was nothing taller than the house anywhere near.
Are you coming?
Lizzie's mom asked as she opened the door of the parked car. Lizzie looked at her mom, then back to the house. She was going to say no, but for some reason, Lizzie nodded. They walked up the strangely crooked brick path to the door. Mom pressed the doorbell. The chime sounded like a little girl laughing. Mom looked down at Lizzie and smiled.
You'll have a wonderful time, Lizzie. Aunt Dora used to babysit me too when I was your age.
Then the doorknob rattled. It turned slowly. The hinges creaked as the door swung open. For a second, Lizzie could not see inside as the house was very dark. Then an old woman stepped forward into the daylight, spilling across the doorstep. Aunt Dora was hunched over a crooked walking stick. She was only slightly taller than Lizzie, and Lizzie was only 9 years old. The skin on her face was wrinkled and her cheeks hung like 2 empty bags. She looked at Mom with serious eyes, then at Lizzie.
Are you Lizzie?
She asked. Her voice was high and soft like a child's voice. When she spoke, she raised her bushy grey eyebrows so high that they somehow touched her white hair. Lizzie nodded her head. It took all her courage not to hide behind Mom's legs. Aunt Dora's face suddenly changed. It was as if it was made with silly putty and invisible hands that squeezed and pushed and pulled it into a broad smile.
Ah, excellent. Come.
Said Aunt Dora as she took Lizzie by the hand.
I'll pick you up this afternoon. Have fun,
Mom said. The door closed and Mom was gone. The sunlight that had shone through the door was cut off, and Lizzie was all alone with Aunt Dora in the newly dug passage.
Did your mom tell you about my magic room?
Aunt Dora asked.
Magic room? Magic how?
Lizzie started.
I'll show you.
Aunt Dora led her down the hallway to a closed door. She turned the doorknob and pushed it open. Inside, Lizzie saw the most incredible sight. The room was bright and filled with computers, gadgets, and gizmos that hummed and whirred and whistled.
In this room, you can go to any wonderful world you'd like to go to. You can build new worlds if you want to, right here.
Aunt Dora said. Aunt Dora handed Lizzie a pair of weird-looking goggles. She had a pair for herself too, and then they began. Lizzie and Aunt Dora got lost in their magic room, in new worlds built by Aunt Dora and her computers. It was wonderful. So Mom had been right all along. And so we come to the end of another Nali Bali story time. Today's story was called Aunt Dora's Room, written by Kat Ellis. Did you know that reading and telling stories to children at home can help them do better at school? If you want free stories to read to your children or for your children to enjoy on their own, visit Nali Bali website www.nalibali.org or Mobi site www.nalibali.mobi. You will find stories in 11 South African languages, as well as tips for reading and sharing stories with your children to grow their potential. Also look out for the bilingual Nali Bali Reading for Enjoyment supplements with great children's stories and activities available in newspapers. Nali Bali, it starts with a story.
If you're active on social media and love SAFM, we hope you'll take a moment to like or follow our SAFM page on Facebook and Twitter. These are the best places to find all the guest information, conversations, and stories you love from your favorite presenters, along with regular updates from SABC News. And don't forget, you can send your questions to feedback@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation. Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
The top stories this hour: exemption permits for Basotho nationals extended and bail denied to an alleged Nigerian human trafficker. A very good afternoon. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has extended exemption permits for approximately 55,000 Lesotho nationals for a period of 2 years. He says the affected Lesotho nationals will be entitled to apply for new exemption permits. Motsoaledi was addressing the media on the Lesotho and Zimbabwean exemptions. He's added that no holder of valid exemption permits may be arrested, ordered to depart, or be detained for purposes of deportation or for not having any valid exemption certificate. The minister has outlined some fundamental conditions for Lesotho nationals with exemption permits.
A holder of the exemption permit will be entitled to work, seek employment, and conduct business in the Republic. A holder of the exemption permit due to expire on the 31st of December 2023 will be entitled to apply for a new exemption permit. Will be entitled to sojourn in the Republic of South Africa during the validity of the exemption permit. New exemption permit to be issued will expire on 2025. Will not be entitled to apply for permanent residence in the Republic of South Africa.
2 injured and dehydrated boys have been taken to hospital after they escaped from an alleged illegal initiation school in Mahikeng in the northwest. A motorist spotted the 2 bleeding youngsters next to a busy road and alerted the police. The boys explained that they fled from a makeshift initiation school not too far from town and had tried to walk home. The 2 received medical assistance and were taken to a local hospital. The Kimberley Magistrates Court has turned down the bail application of a man accused of human trafficking, rape, and assault. The 38-year-old accused, who was arrested in October, allegedly lured 2 women aged between 27 and 29 from Joburg to Kimberley and used them as sex workers. Upon his arrest, the women were rescued and illegal drugs allegedly found in his motel room. The case has been postponed to January next year to allow for further investigations. The accused will remain in custody. NPA spokesperson Mojale Fasin Nokwatsani.
botšhotšhisi ba setšhaba bo amogelwa qeto e nkuweng ke lekgotla la dinyewe la Kimberley lao sefe a de yafe a de damola a de toya.
National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Masinga says the country needs to build a resilient public health system that can withstand a crisis without being detrimental to other national health programs like HIV/AIDS treatment. She was speaking during the virtual AIDS Day debate in Parliament. Masinga says the COVID-19 pandemic had a severe impact on the country's AIDS and HIV program.
COVID-19 global pandemic strained our healthcare systems and diverted attention and resources away from the fight against HIV and AIDS. It is essential that we learn from this experience and build a more resilient and inclusive healthcare system that can effectively address multiple public health challenges simultaneously.
And Israeli warplanes have pounded Gaza, with authorities in the Strip saying scores of people have been wounded or killed. Both Hamas and Israel have blamed each other for the resumption of combat operations after the week-long truce. More from the BBC's Rushdi Abu Aluf.
They were hearing huge explosions and seeing black smoke coming out of buildings. People were looking under the rubble of some of the buildings. About 32 people were killed so far, and people are deeply concerned about resuming the fight, and they believe that the Israelis might go into some sort of operation in the south. So what if the Israelis are now decided to expand the operation to the south? What's going to happen to those 1.8 million people? Most of them are displaced from the north, and most of them, they were not allowed to go back to the north even during the 7 days of the ceasefire.
The top story this hour, Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has extended exemption permits for approximately 55,000 Lesotho nationals for a period of 2 years. For SAFM News, Kemudupi Makhalemele.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.6 FM in Bloemfontein.
The summer season is here. That means there are more reasons for you to travel and explore Mzansi. South African Tourism, together with the greater tourism industry, are partnering to make travel more accessible and affordable. On our Tourism Thursdays feature on Beyond the Headline, we will be joined by SA Tourism to tell us more about how to travel and get to know Mzansi in a fun and affordable manner this summer season. Tourism Thursday is proudly brought to you in association with South African Tourism.
Arsenal FC is only interested in rising to the summit.
Oh, what a finish by Zinchenko! Tremendously taken!
Meanwhile, Wolverhampton Wanderers also want a decent position in the top half.
Saka collided into the bottom corner, and Wolves finally lead in the...
Will the Gunners of London keep their fans delighted, or will the Wolves have the final say? This is the Premier League. Catch the spectacular clash between Arsenal AFC and Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, 2 December at 4 p.m. live on S3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. # We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies invites interested individuals and stakeholders to submit written comments on the SABC bill. The bill seeks to repeal the Broadcasting Act of 1999 to regulate the continued existence of the SABC, to provide its governance, to amend the ICASA Act of 2000 and the Electronic Communications Act of 2005. For more information, contact the Portfolio Committee of Communications and Digital Technologies by emailing sabcbill@parliament.gov.za, directed to Hanjiera Sali. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
It is Zakes Bantwini, the Grammy Award-winning Zakes Bantwini, featuring Nana Atta on this one. It is Amanga, that is the name of the song. I kind of feel like this song didn't get the kind of love that it deserved. It was eclipsed by a few other Zakes Bantwini singles, but it is a phenomenal song. And I was just saying to my guest in studio that Zakes performed at the South African the Fashion Week at AFI, at Africa International Fashion Week, about 2 weeks ago. And I've not really seen Zakes in performance. And he just is incredible. He is electrifying to watch. He completely commands your attention. His ability to weave music and just to bring you in and build a sound and take a song and chop it up live and remix it and re-engineer it and bring it back again with another one and take you down a road of nostalgia. But he's just incredible. I cannot say it enough. He's really... It is the Zakes Bantwini Stand Show. Full access. Oh my, it is SAFM with the full circle this afternoon, and we have in conversation joining me now my guest Mbali. Mbali Zulu is the chief coordinator for Funk It, I'm Walking. As you know, this is a brilliant movement that was the brainchild, amongst others, of Unomsa Mazwai, and they do incredible work in terms of activating Soweto. And you guys have been doing this for a few years now. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Bridget. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
I'm well, thanks you. Thanks you.
Welcome to the Zakes Bantwini Appreciation Hour. But let's talk about the incredible work that you guys do with Funk It, I'm Walking.
And you know what? If we could do an incredible job such that we get to a stage where we can be applauded like you just did with Zakes Bantwini, I guess that's the level that we're trying to reach.
But you guys do, though.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, I remember...
We try.
In recent years, when you founded this movement, I remember being in conversation with Unomsa, and I've been in conversation with her throughout a lot of your activations around this particular movement. But
Yes.
what you have done, it literally started as a one-night thing
Yes.
that has activated the entire Soweto community and even outside of Soweto.
Yes.
And you guys have galvanized people to say, listen, well, let me not speak for you, but
Yes, no. Nomsa Mazwa, incredible woman, incredible lady that has, founded and started this initiative of, every first Thursday of the month to not only, mobilize the community to, speak a language of saying once we can make it safe in our communities, and that will translate directly into revenue or, to build or develop the township economy, because what then happens is we also engage entrepreneurs or restaurants and that's where we meet. And then, we walk around the area. with community police forums or bodies that are for security around the township and are promoting that. I mean, it's incredible what township communities are doing to promote safety. So they have their own initiatives of promoting safety daily, and NOMSA saw this innovative idea of partnering with these organizations or these groups, and to say, let's build a tourism sort of platform or program or product, where tourists are invited to come on a first Thursday night. It's safe, nice to walk around the township, and there's a lot of history, there's a lot of heritage around in townships. And as we walk around the township, I mean, it's like a kilometer, less than a kilometer walk, just to to the heritage or stop sites that exist around the township, and then we afterwards meet up for dinner and support the local township entrepreneurs.
And I think that's the cool thing about Funkadam Walking, Mbali, is it activates the space, but beyond it just being a sort of reclaim the neighborhood campaign, it's also a reclaim the neighborhood from an economic perspective, re-inject money back into Soweto, which has so many young, small, budding entrepreneurs that actually, some of them even came on the back of Funkadam Walking.
100%. It's really all about that, to say the biggest challenge we are facing in South Africa, of unemployment. And, if we can develop, things that can, produce revenue, that can create income, be it, in entrepreneurial spaces, that's what we're supporting. But a big message is to say, through tourism, there is an opportunity to create income. And if we make it safe in our communities, which is another barrier for tourists to come to, township environments, because they think, is it safe? But if the community creates a safe environment, and then you start to meet, because it is safe, and that's another perception, relatively it is safe, so to enjoy that environment, especially at night, just walking, the vibrancy of the township, you especially experience it best at night.
Oh no, absolutely.
for some reason, it just buzzes at night, and tourists don't always get that experience, because of the fear of safety. So we're saying, by mobilizing communities and making them conscious of the fact that safety does translate directly into income, we believe we can, as a community, develop and build an economy.
Absolutely. And you've built a number of initiatives around hashtag Funkadam Walking, and one of those to commemorate the 16 days of activism against GBV is also the Before You Kill Me or Before You Kill Us Soweto Night Out.
Yes.
Tell us about that one.
Very, very exciting.
Yeah.
So every month we have a different theme for the walks, and the next walk, which is happening next week, Thursday, on December, which is the first Thursday, is themed Before You Kill Us. Also raising awareness around gender-based violence, and supporting the campaign of no violence against women and children. So as part of that campaign, we'll be walking in Orlando West. We're meeting at Just Patela. That's the restaurant. Then we'll be walking around. We'll be visiting Mama Winnie Mandela's house. We'll be visiting Vilakazi Street, the Mandela Museum. We'll be seeing Dudu's house. And along the route, there'll be also arts. And that's incorporated. So you'll be seeing artists' paintings that speak to this topic or raise awareness around GBV. There will be various artistic, expressions of dance through music, performances along the route. Again, raising awareness and we just, again, not promoting, just responsible communities, around issues of gender-based violence, around issues of, entrepreneurship support and safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about the movement as a whole is that it not only does it highlight all the positive aspects of living in a township and being part of township community,
yes,
but also there's a part of bringing back a sense of dignity and a sense of pride
yes,
from the inside out.
100%.
We are the ones we've been waiting for,
100%.
and this is our community, and we take ownership for it first and foremost before other people.
100%. And as a movement, we've partnered with other community organizations, and are also do campaigns around litter, and you speak to dignity, which speaks to directly that, to say, let's get rid of dump sites, let's develop responsible waste management processes, and let's just take pride in ourselves. Let's just take pride in our infrastructure. Let's take pride of our environment, and let's open it and make it welcoming to the rest of the world. And as a result, we can and let's showcase our skills and talents. Because that's part of it. To say, by so doing, we will be able to attract a market that will then be able to support these communities with a different products that they develop and showcase or experiences. So it's really about that, a holistic approach of development. And yeah, that's really what the movement is about.
And in fact, from what I understand, that particular precinct in Soweto around Vilakazi attracts close to 500,000 visitors annually. And so I can imagine also, if we're just looking at domestically within Soweto, once we start counting what you guys are building, crazy.
100%. There is an opportunity. It's a massive opportunity. I mean, that was disrupted by COVID, as we all know. And that sort of created, further issues, especially around, people trying to make an income. Small businesses were affected by it. And it's good to see that now, as we are, it's really an opportunity now as things are getting better or have been better for at least, but the risk of COVID makes us even appreciate the times that we have now, to say, it's the first December really that we can really get excited post-COVID, to say, things are normal again. So with this opportunity, we hope to attract more people and, just showcase the vibrancy that the township has to offer. I mean, we've got now I just come from Vilakazi Street, and it is buzzing. It's the excitement of December. It's just the best place to be in December. Go guys.
All right, so this is the kickoff for December, and no doubt, I don't know, do you guys have quite the calendar planned out for the entire month of December? Obviously, next week being the kickoff of the December programming, I'm assuming.
Yes. So what had happened was that, what started off as First Thursday night walks has now developed into, sort of a tourism business that offers Soweto night tours. So with Soweto night tours, it's not only, for First Thursdays, which is a campaign that sort of, drives the community. But with Soweto Night Tours, then through that business, tourists can book tours for each day and find out what's happening on any particular day. So to access, Soweto Night Tours, again, on funkyandamwalking.co.za, or .com, funkyandamwalking.com. Then there's different tickets. Next week's walk is a packaged experience that includes dinner, that includes drinks, that includes, merchandise, which
Okay.
supports local entrepreneurship or local products, So that's a 475 Rand ticket that has, that encompasses all that. But then on the day to day, the trips, the ticket for just a Soweto night out,
Okay.
starts around that price range, but differs based
Yeah.
on the type of experience you'll be experiencing on any other given night.
Lovely. Okay, so it's now, I didn't realize that you now encompassed an entire situation where, as a tourist or even a domestic tourist,
Yes.
if I want to go experience a Soweto night out, I can now pre-book one with my group of friends,
Exactly.
and there's a package that is tailored
Exactly, 100%. And that's part of the innovation that happens to say, people want to experience Soweto when it's buzzing at night. There's such a lovely, night culture, and it hasn't really been opened up for tourists, especially international tourists. But we've realized, NOMSA's, realize the gap in the market and testing it off with First Thursday Night Walk and the success of that, or of that development, then the realization occurred that there is a demand for people to come experience Soweto, a group of friends, but who can I trust to show me where to be. So Soweto Night Out then developed and is responding to that demand or that need.
Fantastic
Yeah.
stuff. Well, listen, definitely, I think something I always encourage, especially come December, if you're listening and you have no plans and you're staying in the city, I always say approach it like you would any other holiday.
Yeah.
Have a look at all the, funkitI'mwalking.com, Short Left, all these online portals. Plan out your days and your weeks, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yep.
Approach your own city like a tourist, and you would be surprised how much fun you get to have when you are just staycationing. Because when do we ever get to experience the places that we live from the outside looking in like we are tourists? Half the time, you're driving into Soweto to visit Ukoko, and then
Yes.
you're done. Then you have your Sunday lunch and you go home back to your suburbs and you are done. But here's an opportunity for you to maybe have a little bit of a taste of what other people get to feel and see and experience when they're visiting South Africa. So #funkitI'mwalking.com is where you can go and have a look at the itinerary. Of course, First Thursdays happening next week, Thursday, and the theme for this one is Before You Kill Us, the Soweto Night Out. It's 2:30. It's time for Madupi to let us know what's coming up on the headlines, and then we come back with full access.
Thank you very much, Bridget. A very good afternoon. With the news headlines, Kemudupi Makhalemele. President Cyril Ramaphosa has spent 32 million rand in legal costs since he assumed office in February 2018. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has extended exemption permits for approximately 55,000 Lesotho nationals for a period of 2 years, and heavy gunfire has been reported in Guinea-Bissau's capital after some National Guard soldiers went to free a detained minister and a senior state official. Details of these and other stories, 3 o'clock.
Don't miss out on the SAFM Playwriting Competition. To enter, visit safm.co.za. From the menu icon, select Competitions. Click on the SAFM Drama Playwriting Competition. Read the T's and C's of the competition. Check out the competition's Q&A. Fill in the entry form by clicking the link provided. Email your script to drama@safm.co.za. For further information, email drama@safm.co.za. Entries close on the 22nd of January 2024. SAFM, leading the conversation. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365, Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
It is a Friday afternoon on the Full Circle, and of course, it's 2:30, which means that it's full access now. We get to be in conversation with a fabulous African doing something amazing. Listen, and today we changed the script a little bit, and we thought because normally we are in conversation with artists and creatives and musicians, and we thought, well, let's touch base with the lady at the helm of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. You know that come the 5th, it's just a matter of a few days now, it would have been 10 years since the passing of the great statesman. And of course, it provides an opportunity, I think, for everybody to just reflect back, for everybody to assess where we are, evaluate on some of his dreams and visions and hopes for South Africa, and in particular, in this case, the children of South Africa. So we invited Dr. Nkuli Boikutso to join me. And like I said, she is the head honcho, the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, with her own fascinating story, by the way. She's had quite a life, and it reads like something out of a novel, because at some point in your youth, you were hospitalized. Not once, but twice, probably actually became quite familiar with hospitals after your diagnosis. At some point, you were hurt in a bomb blast. There's just so much life that has been lived before you got to this particular position in this journey. Good afternoon to you, Nkuli. How are you?
I'm well, and yourself, Bridget?
I'm fantastic.
Thank you for having me on your show.
It's only but a pleasure. The irony of the fact that you head up, this beacon of hope, this great vision by this phenomenal man, when you yourself, at a very young age of 14, found yourself within the healthcare system after what I would assume is a horrifying diagnosis for a 14-year-old.
Absolutely. It was a difficult diagnosis, but sometimes in hindsight, I think God puts certain things in your life to push you in a certain direction so that you find purpose. And so for me, as much as it was a difficult and traumatic experience when you're 14, when you should be doing other things, interesting things, and you're in and out of hospital, hospital ended up feeling like home for me.
Yeah.
And not just home, you feel like I want to do something for children like myself. And so I'm glad to be able to do what I do now so that I can impact children who find themselves in similar situations that I was in many years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, at 14, you get diagnosed with ovarian cancer, which is something that I think a lot of us can't even fathom, don't want to fathom, if we're being honest. And when you're sitting there at 14 and you get this diagnosis, what is the thought process for a teenager who should be preoccupied with boys and crushes and movie dates and things of that sort?
Absolutely. It was actually when they told us, because I was with my mom, I'm a child of a single parent, so I was with her and they brought us into the room. And when they told us, it felt like a bit of a dream. It's like I was I convinced myself in that moment, this is an out-of-body experience. I'm dreaming it will be over very soon. And of course, unfortunately, it wasn't. And just having to contemplate life and death at 14, because at 14, I mean, you're alive. You've got nothing but life ahead of you.
Yeah.
But you end up having to contemplate that. Am I going to be alive? Am I going to be saved? What does this mean? And then the issue of, am I going to have children? Because then it's the ovary. You don't even know you have ovaries that can make children really at that stage. And now they're asking you, okay, maybe we should save one so that you can have children. So it was a lot at that time. And you end up having to grow up, you know, and not be a normal 14-year-old in grade 9. You know, you just have to grow up and go through the motions. But obviously you don't go through it alone. There's a whole support system just to help me get through, and the many other children who had cancer,
When does one, because I think this also probably has put you in a better understanding for the path that you are now, having been a patient at such a young age, having also had your mom and having to walk with her as she supported you through all of this, and the conversations that have come through the years about that journey for the two of you. Because then I wonder, like you said, you're having to make all these adult decisions where, had it been a woman twice your age getting that diagnosis, I can almost guarantee that they wouldn't even know how to even begin with this conversation. You know, so at 14, when do you even reconcile all of those decisions that had to be made then? Because right there and there, you're preoccupied with, okay, are you telling me I'm going to live or die?
Exactly. And it really, it feels like you're almost floating through it, because you have to do it, right? You have to do it. The cancer is going to spread and grow. And so you just get into the motion of, I have to go for chemo. It happens on a Wednesday to a Friday. I get admitted, I get out. And as soon as you get out of hospital, for me, the one coping mechanism I had was, I need to go back to my life. Every Friday when I get discharged out of Joburg Hospital, Charlotte Maxeke, let me go back to my life. As hard as it is, go to school. I used to go to school on the Monday, exhausted, you're tired, your hair has fallen out, you look very strange, different from other children. But you just get on with life, and you don't let it put you down, because you just have to do it, and you go through it. And it's only much later, to be quite honest with you, as I'm getting older, that I've had time to go back and think, how does that make me feel? What was the impact of that in my psychology? And remember, back in those days, this was the 90s. We never spoke about mental health. You just get on with it. You know, you have traumatic experiences, just live. You should be happy that you're alive. But it's only later that you think, okay, how do I feel about the thing that happened to me, and how do I use that experience for bettering myself and bettering others.
We are in conversation today for a full access with the woman at the helm of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, Dr. Nkuli Boikotsu, who herself has a phenomenal life story. And we're going to get into conversations around the legacy of the statesman and everything that is wonderful and groundbreaking that they are getting up to there at the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. For now, though, let's take a quick break. It's 22 at 3 o'clock. Aldrin St. Pierre is going to come through and let us know what's coming up on Beyond the Headline.
SV Darmstadt and FC Köln are both faced with the same dilemma. They are navigating a path to relocate from the uncomfortable zone. The Lilies want to impress home fans, but the Billygoats believe they can shine away from home. This is the Bundesliga, football as it's meant to be. Catch the glittering clash between SV Darmstadt and FC Köln this Friday, 1 December at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The SABC is making some changes to its trailblazing SABC Plus app. This may result in a temporary pause of services, but this isn't necessary to pave the way for an exciting new service offering. During this brief hiatus, which should not be more than 48 hours, the SABC will be migrating the SABC Plus service to a new technology system which will result in the scheduled downtime. SABC Plus assures its viewers that this interruption is temporary and efforts are being made to expedite the transition process. Regular updates will be provided to keep our audiences informed about the resumption of the SABC Plus services and, of course, the exciting improvements to come.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Aldrinson here.
Hello, December.
Hello,
December.
I wanted to play that song, and then
Well, we're definitely opening the show up.
that's how I wanted to open the show, and then I was like, "You, Auntie Karen will be like a girl."
I'm definitely opening the show with that song, TKZ. I'm definitely opening the show with that song. So hang 10.
What's coming up?
Coming up on the show this afternoon, we look at some of the commitments that are being made at the COP28, which is currently underway in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. And then also, one of the stories that we're looking into is the announcement that was made by the Home Affairs Minister that the Zimbabwean as well as the Lesotho exemption permits have been extended for another 2 years. I wonder if we'll ever get a solution to this one, or should we just regularize their stay and perhaps give them the citizenship that some of them have been asking for. And then also on the show this afternoon, it is the bonding session, and because it's Christmas, we're in a Christmas spirit, we're opening it up to the listeners. So we want the listeners to come up with a topic for us this afternoon.
Lovely. Okay, I'll be thinking what I want to talk about. I'm going to make it juicy and salacious.
Do that. But it must speak to the vibe here at December,
Yeah.
Don't be too somber.
No, we won't be somber. I said juicy and salacious hamburger.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Aldrin Sophia is coming up between 3 and 6 on Beyond the Headline.
Richards Bay FC and Stellenbosch FC can already smell the final of the Carlin Knockout Cup. However, only one team will progress. The Natal Rich Boys are confident they will keep their fans delighted, but Stellies believe they have a master plan to grab the graduation certificate to the final. Catch the Carlin Knockout Cup semi-final clash, Richards Bay FC versus Stellenbosch FC, on Saturday 2 December at 2:30 p.m. live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
It is the Full Circle, and of course it's a Friday afternoon, which means we are in a full access conversation today. We've got Dr. Nkuli Boyikotso joining me, who's the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. So it's been a while since the hospital's inception, the great dream of Ndate Nelson Mandela and of course Mom Gracia. And I wonder for you guys, because there was some fabulous hopes for the work, the innovative and groundbreaking work that the hospital could undertake, especially when it comes to children's care. Right. When you look back over the last couple of years, what are the things that you're most proud of in your journey thus far?
Sure. So, Bridget, we're now 6 years in operations.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, just walking into that hospital.
Feels like more.
I know. It's only 6 years. I'm glad it feels like more that maybe we're making an impact. It's been 6 years. I think because the build-up and the building took a while, and the fundraising, because the hospital was really built by the community, so ordinary South Africans who donated the money, who make sure that that building exists to treat children. And so we officially opened in 2017. And for me, really moving, I started in 2018. My first day was when we admitted the first patient to sleep in the hospital, our very first patient. And so that in itself was a highlight. And just to see that first day when there was just one patient in the building, and how much that has grown over the years. We've operationalizing 100 beds, so we're at 50% capacity right now. And obviously we're looking into how do we make sure that we use all the beds that are available in the hospital. And the guys that we have there, we have, as you say, groundbreaking work. We recently did, in collaboration with the Gauteng Department of Health surgeons, a transplant. We did a kidney transplant on a child. Every single day there are heart operations that are happening at the hospital. So it's complex work, and it's really exciting to see the children come in with their families and they get out and they're well, and obviously it's a very emotional service that we provide, because you don't always win. Sometimes you lose some children, but it's emotional work. But when we do have a situation where the child comes out and they're well, it's something that we honestly appreciate and we celebrate. And not only that, there's just so much apart from just the relationships that they have with the parents, but the community that constantly supports us, you know, the people who donate to us, even the artworks around the hospital themselves. I've never seen so many artworks in a hospital, you know, so it's different artists. And some of the artists I actually follow on social media because I was just curious. Their work is beautiful. You know, you can take the time to look at the work. It's therapeutic. And so it just doesn't feel like a hospital because of so much that has been put in, so much that has been thought of in the building itself that helps the people who care for the children care for them even better because you're in such a wonderful environment.
And I think that was the vision, right? At the very beginning is that to be able to provide this much needed access to healthcare for children across the board, but to provide it in an environment that also was not sterile and intimidating, that was almost invigorating and energizing, you know, reinforcing life and the possibility that could come on the other side of the journey.
You put it so well. Exactly that. You know, the colors in the building. So there was a lot of creative people who were involved. Just the seats around, the light that comes into the building, the whole architecture of the building was really to say it's a place of hope and healing. It's not just a hospital because it's a place where you should be comfortable because a lot of our patients are chronically ill. They spend many, many days. Some patients, we've had them for 5 years because they're coming in and out. So it's a place that should be inviting, and that's for children. I mean, my own children, every time I say I'm going to work, they're like, Mommy, can I come with you to work? I'm like, because it's so much fun for them to be there. It just doesn't feel like a hospital. So there's really a lot of thought that was put into it, a lot of creativity, and that really makes it's a magical place to be.
Yeah. And I think for me, I don't know, you know, from the encounters that you have with the families that come in, with the people who help in sort of the day-to-day, the funders, etc. For me, the hospital almost is a representation of the very best of us, like you said, funded by a collective of community. And I remember when Dr. Nelson was making the call out to all South Africans, and it was like, I'm talking to you, Bridget, you, everybody, you, Sue in the corner, you. Like your 10 Rand, your 100 Rand could go as far as Dr. Precious and Dr. Patrice's 100 million. Like your 10 Rand is just as important in realizing this for the greater good of South African children.
Exactly. And this legacy belongs to all of us because so many people contributed to it. And that's why we should be proud of it, because it's a beacon of hope. And for us who work there every single day, that's what we remember, that this is not about us. This is not just an ordinary job. It's a legacy. We need to take care of what South Africans invested in. It's for us. It's beyond our lifetime that the hospital needs to exist and continue to service the children of this country and beyond. Really, the borders of South Africa.
Absolutely. We are in conversation today for Full Access with Dr. Nkuli. And what I love about your story, I think I was alluding to it earlier, that your personal journey also places you in a very interesting position, for lack of a better word. It's Friday, English goes away. Places you in an interesting position because you have a sensibility of what it is to be a child patient. But you also have the sensibility, because I feel like particularly children who come from single parented households also understand the immense pressure that their parents are under. And when you're going through a journey together, like you did at 14 with your mom, you just see and experience the world completely different. And I feel like as the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, that probably comes into the fore every single day.
Absolutely. Every day when I see those moms, because I understand what it means. You know, my mom, single parent, she didn't have a car. We lived in Soweto, but I had to get treatment in Johannesburg. I remember when I was being worked up, she had to leave at 7 o'clock at night so that she can get home. And, you know, you catch the last bus. And when you get to Soweto, it's not like it drops you off at your gate. You still have to walk a long distance and you have to go to work. You know, she still has to go to work. She still needs to provide for me. And so when I see those parents, for me, I understand what it means, the difficulty. And so how can we, as healthcare workers, make their lives a little bit better? We have a mom currently, one of our chronic patients. She leaves home at 2 a.m. from Mpumalanga so that her child can catch transport 2 a.m. and she's got a little one. So the little one has to go to crash at about 3-4. The lady next door takes care of him, and then she has to come with this one in an ambulance, in a hospital transport, to come to us to receive care in Johannesburg, and then go back to KwaNdebele again. So you and she's a single mom with 2 children. And so you understand and you empathize and you want to make it better. These are not just patients or names. These are human beings who've got stories, who've got lives, and we are just part of their journey. And so how do we make their lives better when we do touch them and they come into contact with us? So for me, the hospital is very real. It's not just a treatment place, but it's life. We can have so much positive and negative impact that we need to be constantly aware of as the healthcare providers.
It's an unfair position to ask anybody, because we were speaking yesterday with the curator of the new Mandela is Dead exhibition that opened up as part of this month's commemorative efforts by the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And I understand it's an unfair position to ask anybody, to sort of maybe take a moment to pause and see if the great statesman was here today, looking at the plight of South African children, looking at as much as you guys do important work, and you bring such value and such a well-needed lifeline to the families that you touch, there's millions of South African children who don't have access to just even the basics. They just don't have access. And I wonder, just reflecting back, if you were in conversation with him today, perhaps what would be some of his observation or his sentiment about what we've managed to do for South African children, or what we have not managed to do, and in the ways that we've let them down, perhaps, and continue to let them down every single day?
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, that is a difficult question. But to be honest with you, when you just look at the state of children, I know we've done a lot, over the years, from where the type of education we're receiving, more kids are able to go to school, more parents are working, but we just have not done enough yet, especially, like you're saying, we're offering life-saving care, it's specialist care, but you have children who are hungry, you have children who are going to school barefoot in this country. You have kids who have schools that still have pit latrines. So there's more that we still need to do. I think for him, he would say, do more. Definitely. What more can be done to help children? And that's why the organization he first started, which was the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, was looking at community-based issues around children, safety, in terms of how many children are dying in this country from unnatural causes, from injuries. And so I think he would definitely say, guys, you need to do more for the children, because if you don't take care of these guys, what hope do you have for the future of this country? And so it's important for us to invest more in our children and their education and their health so that we can produce better citizens for this country.
On a lighter note, I know the rest of us, when we see, organizations like the Children's Hospital, we romanticize and Hollywood envision what it must take to be a practicing doctor or a sister, a nurse, a caregiver within this organization. I almost envision it as being like, the creme de la creme, but also over and above that, people with a particular acumen and a particular personality. And, I can see the thousands of doctors applying to be a part. That's how I envision it. But it does take a special kind of somebody to come into that hospital and be a part of that family.
Oh, it absolutely does. And my team, maybe I don't tell them enough, but they're special people. Our hospital, yes, it's not always easy, but it's a happy place. I work with really great people. They're nice people, and if you've worked in healthcare for a very long time, it's tough. But the guys are nice. They love children, always smiling. And I guess when you work with children, how can you not always be smiling and be happy to see them, And so really the guys, they're brilliant, intelligent, but more than that, the humanity that they have and their love for children is really what makes me want to go to work every day. I work with awesome people, right from security at the gate, the reception at the front, the surgeons. You know how surgeons are. But I've got awesome surgeons.
How are surgeons, Dr. Nguli? I'm joking.
You must come and visit us.
I'm joking. Oh man, the pressures for you just in our final moments, because I mean, we talk about the brilliance of the organization and the work, but it means that there is a lot of pressure. They say it's lonely at the top, especially when you're doing something good and doing it well with your team.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's lonely at the top. I also always try and shield my team from some of the difficulties. And really for me, it's about finding even people outside of the environment that you can lean on, that you can talk to, that you can debrief with, because you can't walk this journey alone. You may be alone at the top, but you must know that there's a team behind you, there's a support structure around me, but most importantly, that you're driven by the passion and the purpose for the work that I do. And so for me, really, that's how I balance the craziness and the pressure, and just to say, okay, God, this is what you want me to do, and I'm going to do it, and there'll be a happy kid at the end of the day,
I love it. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you. And as she was speaking, as Dr. Nkuli was speaking, in my mind, I thought probably at the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, as much as they do serious work, but it's also the one place where if a surgeon is rushing somewhere and a toddler hands them an imaginary telephone, they have to take it and say, hello.
They have to. They absolutely have to. And we always say everybody is a child, not just the people we treat. So all of us, they are children with our children in the building.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. We definitely are going to visit. I've never visited the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. I'll just pop in one day and just visit. They do some really cool stuff. And when Dr. Nkuli was talking about the art, they've got some really incredible sculptures as well that are on the property. Really, everyone is galvanized to ensure that this vision has come to life and maintained and continues to grow in strength to strength. From us and my team, thank you so much for choosing to be in conversation with us again as we wrap up this week. It's been a wholesome week for us. We're sounding better and better with each day. I had to sanitize when the doctor came in the building. I had to sanitize because she could hear from my throat, what's going on there. Have an incredible weekend further. If you're staying in the city, I hope that you get to have some rest. And if you are venturing out into other parts of the country, please do take us along with you on social media. You can find us there at SAFM Radio. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at Bridget Masinga. Inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again.